What if one day you realize na everything that you've been working for simply doesn't resonate with you anymore? And then you realize the power of asking about the what ifs instead of settling in the what is. What if one day the love of your life, the person that you see yourself with, chose to leave? And then you realize that there is power in asking, what if love is not enough? This movie continues to be one of the greatest love stories in Filipino cinema. Not only because it explores the complexities of breakups, but also the universal struggle of being in your mid-20s. Hi, my name is Stephen Amoyo. I'm a multidisciplinary designer, and this is The Architecture of Cinema, featuring One More Chance. Before we start, I would like to thank Ate Van, the writer of this film, for answering my questions and inquiries about the movie so I can make this episode effectively. And during our call, she mentioned that she wrote this film when she was 27, so to write a masterpiece at age 27, that's oh shit. And can I just say that watching this film when I was younger and watching this film now, it's like two different scenarios, because now I understand Basha. Surprise, surprise. The architect is Team Basha. The UST, the Thomasian architect, is Team Basha. So, okay, let's do the summary. One More Chance is a Filipino romantic drama film directed by Kathy Garcia Molina and written by Vanessa R. Valdez and Carmi Raimundo. The story follows Popoy, John Lloyd Cruz, and Basha, Bea Alonzo, a couple who have been together for years since college. Popoy is a controlling and perfectionist boyfriend, while Basha yearns for freedom and self-discovery. Eventually, Basha decides to break up with Popoy to find herself and pursue her dreams, even though she still loves him. The film explores their painful breakup, individual growth, and the possibility of finding their way back to each other. As they both navigate their lives separately, they mature and slowly realize what truly matters in a relationship: love, respect, and space to grow. Personally, this movie means so much to me. I'm a Thomasian architect, same as Basha, and I also live in Qatar, same as Popoy towards the end of the film. So, yeah, watching this film now definitely hits hard. Also, I'm 26, practically the same age as Popoy and Basha. Also, I want to preface the cultural impact that it had in UST Arki. The cultural impact was so insane that when an Arki student proclaims na they have an engineering boyfriend or girlfriend, people would be like... Also, this film was kind of like a rite of passage for UST Arki students. Kasi pag hindi mo siya pinanood during your freshman year, then you're gonna miss out on 5 years of inside jokes. Like, ayoko na mag-aral, iinom na lang ako ng shampoo.
Legend shampoo yan, di ba ako tiluyan? Thank me, Lord!
Or kung ano yung 3-month rule.
Diba, 3 buwan bago ka makapag-boyfriend ulit. Hindi mo alam yun? Boy.
Which, by the way, I asked Ate Van about this, and yeah, the 3-month rule, that was from the movie. That wasn't a thing before. So basically, before filming, nagkaroon sila ng research, and they asked this one guy na gano ba dapat katagal before ka mag-jowa ulit? And this guy so nonchalantly said, I don't know, like 3 months. And then it made it to the film, the 3-month rule. So now you know. I haven't seen this film since college. Pinanood ko siya last week for this video. I actually wrote everything that I have to say and printed it out. I watched this film last week and I realized that for the past couple of years, I've been in my Basha phase. Kung si Basha, she designed and painted on t-shirts. I did those. I did like 6 to 4 feet huge ass paintings. That was my Basha moment. I feel like when you are an architect and in the midst of your quarter life crisis, you kind of revert back to your old creative habits. And to me, that's painting. I've always been a painter ever since I was a kid. And that's my non-negotiable. kahit ano yung magiging work ko in the future, if I choose to leave or if I choose to say I need to be drawing, that's just a non-negotiable in the field that I'm in. But yeah, I've been in my Basha phase for the past couple of years, and honestly, I've been settling down on like ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng pagiging architect for me. As you may have noticed, I introduced myself as a multidisciplinary designer. I cannot be just an architect. I need to design other stuff as well. I'm a furniture designer. Most recently, I designed a toy. I'm a painter. I make videos like this. Watching the film just made me realize that you need to acknowledge the quarter life crisis for you to be able to actually go through it. Kasi kung hindi mo siya acknowledge and you're gonna stay in the same cycle and you're not gonna do something about it, then you're going to suffer. Okay, enough about me. Let's talk about the architecture of the film. First is Popoy's condo. At the beginning of the film, akala ko shared condo nila ni Basha yon. But as the plot thickens, marirealize natin na condo lang ni Popoy yon. Dito natin makikita yung pag-change ng environment ni Popoy and how Basha leaving him actually affected the space. Let's talk about the before, okay? The first time that we see the apartment, there's these two pendant lamps, these Japanese, very much giving wabi-sabi but make it early 2000s. And honestly, nakita na ako sa Pinterest ng colored Japanese lamps again, which might be an interesting trend. You guys should watch out for those because to me, they look pretty nice. And then, makita natin yung drafting table ni Basha. I've always wondered kung bakit yung mga architects lang yung may drafting table and not the engineers kasi nagdo-drawing din naman sila. I don't know. Pero when Basha left, nawala din yung drafting table. And then, the most important piece of decor in their condo, the dream house na ginawa ni Basha during their college years, during their first anniversary. This is such this is such an Arki student gift na magigift ka sa jowa mo ng dream house. And I've never done that before. Pero baka kayo, ginawa nyo na, baduy kayo eh. Nagbigay ka na din ng dream house. Kung architect student ka, nagbigay ka na din ng dream house, no? Baduy ka kasi. Bahala ka sa buhay mo. And ginawa na din to ni Tony G, ni Jeannie kay Marco sa Starting Over Again. Siya ba yun? Kailangan ko siya i-fact check. Si Jeannie ba yung nagbigay ng dream house drawing kay Marco? Anyway, kung ginawa nyo na yun, corny kayo, napakabaduy nyo. Huh? And then the after umalis ni Basha ng condo, makikita natin yung markings ng dream house nila ni Popoy sa taas ng bed. And then there's a scene where Popoy is trying to erase the markings sa wall and then replace it with the song that Trish made for him. To me, in a deeper sense, I feel like it's so hard for Popoy to reckon with the fact na give up ni Basha yung dream na yun. And that scene kind of broke my heart. Kasi this wasn't just any dream. This was a promise. Understandable yung breakdown ni Popoy doon. Kasi honestly, I would have done the same. Next is yung family house ni Popoy and ni Basha. Let's start with Popoy's house. Okay, so according to Ate Van, what they were trying to do here is dapat yung scene mukha kang nasa Tagaytay, nasa highlands ka ng Tagaytay. Kasi si Popoy, medyo mayaman siya compared kay Basha. Tapos makita natin dito yung bahay ni Popoy, which is very early 2000s architecture, very clean, very modern. This would have eaten back then. And also you can see the art. There's this sense of uniformity. This type of art, I think it's Filipino cubism, which is very highbrow, if I'm being honest. Whenever I see a house with this type of art, immediately I'm like, okay, taste. It's not your typical cross-stitch wall hanging. It's Filipino cubist, and it depicts the life of Filipinos in the farm. And it's this cubist, you know? And let's move on to Basha's house. by the looks of it, mukha siyang mid-century modern. Mas luma siya definitely sa bahay ni Popoy. Medyo kinulang na sa alaga, but it has a lot of personality. And I think this speaks to how Basha was raised in contrast with how Popoy was raised. So basically, si Basha, her father abandoned their family. And then si Popoy, kompleto sila. So, in a sense, makita natin na kung ano yung pinagkaiba ng structured life ni Popoy compared sa medyo chaotic, medyo incomplete na life ni Basha. If lumaki nga si Basha na wala yung tatay niya, I would only assume na she had to figure things out on her own. And baka dito nag-spark yung quarter life crisis niya. Kasi imagine going through life, having to figure things out na ikaw lang. Kasi yung nanay niya, let's say, busy sa work or sa pag-aalaga ng iba niyang kapatid. And she just, I don't know, bigla na lang meron controlling na jowa. Tapos, yung work mo na wala kang fulfillment kasi hindi ka nakikredit sa sarili mong design. Nawawalan ka ng sense of authority when you went through life na ikaw lang lagi yung nasusunod kasi you had to call the shots. Like, wala ka namang the Italian restaurant. Since hot topic to ngayon, I think it's worth mentioning. Okay, third spaces. We've all heard it. If you're here, I am assuming that you're also chronically online like me. and or you're a designer, you're an architect, or a film enthusiast, and I'm sure you've heard about third spaces. Pero if you don't know what a third space is, I'm gonna read it to you. A third space is a place that's not home or work, where people hang out and connect, like a cafe, park, or library. In this case, Bellini's Italian restaurant located in Cubao Expo. This is where we saw the group evolve throughout the film. And dito din natin nakita yung mga heavy hitters na dramahan ni Popoy.
Malaki lang ang katawan mo, pero hindi mo kaya patumbay!
Uy ka na!
Sandali!
Uy ka na!
Lahat ng ginawa mo na! Lahat ng ginawa ko! Ano pang gusto mong gawin ko? Putang ina naman, Bash! Kaya ka ba katigas?
And I think that's the importance of third space. We get to be away from home and work, but we still get to be ourselves around the people that we love and grow in those spaces. A sense of belonging is a very important consideration in designing urban spaces. Maybe ang bubog ko lang dito sa conversation about the third spaces today is hindi naman so wala tayong third space. Meron tayong third space kaso ang mahal. Ang mahal ng kape po. Grabe naman! I feel like business owners should capitalize on this. Like, magbenta na lang kayo ng cheap coffee with comfortable seatings. Kasi, ano ba yung mas importante? So, mataas nga yung kita mo kasi mahal yung kape. Or, yes, medyo mura yung kape, pero babalik-balikan ka. So, meron kang longevity. So, anong mas importante? Longevity or yung profit mo today? Baka hindi lang ako business-minded. Architect ako, hindi ako businessman, so pasensya na ho. Hindi ko din alam. So, ayun. Okay na to. Okay, next one is UST, my alma mater. The source of all my traumas. Huh? Ever wondered why Bea Alonzo and John Lloyd Cruz were able to film in UST? Well, according to Ate Van, again, I asked about this. Bea Alonzo and John Lloyd Cruz received the Student's Choice of Actress and Actor in a drama miniseries awards at the USTV Student's Choice Awards in 2007 for their role in Maging Sino Ka Man. I was told that that was the reason why they were able to film in the field showing the main building, and that's also the reason why pumayag yung UST na gamitin ni Basha yung Salingawi uniform. And I know na lagi natin tong sinasabi sa UST Arki, pero how the Basha, if we do the math here, the film was set in 2007. Tapos together na sila 5-6 years, which would mean na nasa UST sila from 2000 to 2005. Okay, stay with me. Anong nangyayari sa UST noong 2000 to 2005? That was the golden era of the Salingawi dance troupe. So Basha, you're telling me na hindi ka lang architecture student, kasali ka din sa Salingawi dance troupe. And hindi lang yon, kasali ka sa Salingawi dance troupe golden age? No. Ganun ka kagaling, Basha. Also, ano kaya yung reaction ng UST admin nung pinapanood na nila yung film? Tapos may sex scene. May premarital sex scene. If anyone knows kung ano yung reaction nila, can you guys tell me? Kasi, Next is Qatar. So, sa film, malalaman natin na si Popoy may offer siya sa Qatar, and towards the end, he accepted the offer.
Tuloy na ako sa Qatar. Mga 2 years din ang kontrata ko doon.
So, bakit Qatar? Qatar officially submitted its bid to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup in 2009. This marked the beginning of its campaign to bring the tournament in the Middle East for the very first time. Qatar was awarded the hosting rights in December 2, 2010, following a vote by the FIFA Executive Committee in Zurich, Switzerland. This decision marked the first time the tournament would be held in the Middle East. And this is why engineers like Popoy had job offers here in Qatar, because from 2007 to 2009, 2010, they were trying to convince FIFA that they can hold the FIFA World Cup, which, by the way, I attended. It was the best thing ever. Honestly, hindi ako fan ng football before, pero after watching it live here in Qatar, oh my God, it was an experience. It was amazing. So yeah, a lot of Filipinos came here to work as professionals like engineers, architects, and I am one of the young ones who are still reaping the rewards of their hard work. Their generation really gave architects like myself a good rep with the clients in the country. Kasi, if I'm being honest, pag sinabi mong Filipino architect here, okay, that's trustworthy. That's the tea. I would love to tell you guys more about my life here, and if you're interested to see that, should I post here? That might be a lot of work, but for now, you can follow me on Instagram if you want design contents and horrible tennis playing contents. Yun, nagplug lang ako. That's the architecture of the film. Now we move on to the honor roll. This is the part where we point out specific details, specific shots, or props, maybe wardrobe, that made this movie one of the greats. These are the details that we often overlook, and yeah, we're gonna talk about them. Okay, first, I don't know how you call this. Throughout the film, mapapansin natin na madaming misdirection yung camera, na akala mo si Popoy and Basha yung nag-uusap, pero as it turns out, hindi pala sila.
You're just being nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
And I feel like this is how the director of photography interpreted the movie, na this is just a big misunderstanding. So, yun din yung ginagawa niya sa atin. Parang, nililito din niya tayo. Next is the wall divider. This was pointed out again by Ate Van during our call. Makita natin na merong literal na wall that separates Popoy and Basha when they were trying to voice out their side of the story. And this thick-ass wall represents what the state of their relationship is. Basically, there's a wall between the two of them that no one wants to address. Next is the storytelling with their cars. It's so interesting that they used cars to highlight an emotion. So, for example, no umalis na si Basha sa job niya, di ba, she quit. Tapos, we see her car take a pause before leaving. And then, after a few seconds, makita natin na it ascends to the light. Parang, okay, parang may hesitation before going into the light. And then, makita ulit natin to sa EDSA. Okay, bumalik na naman tayo sa EDSA. Nung nag-break na si Popoy and Basha, nasan sila? Yes, nasa Buendia. Ortigas, kuya. Nasa Ortigas sila. Wala sila sa Buendia. Specifically, nasa Crossroads. Kasi si Basha, nasa Crossroads in her life. Tama. Also, parang pinoint out din to ni Ate Van, and this was deliberate. Kasi parang ni-request daw talaga ni Direct Cathy na i-shoot yung scene na to with a visible X sa frame. Kasi magiging na sila, soon to be X, and Basha is in a crossroad. So, wow. And then, makita natin na nauulit yung sequence na yon na si Basha masisiraan ng sasakyan, si Popoy will come to the rescue. But this time, they are not in a crossroads. Nasa bridge na sila. Kasi they're trying to bridge. Cinema. Ang galing. Tapos, umuulan ulit. Parang yung nangyari sa UST. Tapos, nilabas ni Popoy yung UST umbrella. Yung scene na to parang nire-recall nila yung mga things they've been through both in college and in their adult life. Pero, again, babalik tayo sa storytelling ng Cars. Makikita natin si Trish na nasa passenger seat. Tapos si Basha na demote na sa back seat. Again, storytelling with the Cars. Anong meron? Sponsored ba to? Feeling ko dapat nagpa-sponsor sila sa kotse. I mean, sa brand ng kotse. UC. Sponsored ba to? Hindi ko alam. Okay, costume design. Maraming nangyari sa costume design. Pero, the first one I want to point out is yung costume design ni Basha. So, in the beginning, very, very office girl, very timid and simple yung wardrobe ni Basha, but then towards the end, nung nagkakaroon na siya ng catharsis in her life and she's underway sa pagiging new person, makita natin yung damit niya with popped collar. I love that it's still connected with her profession, na parang there's architecture in the fashion that I wear. Di ba nga, from painting on t-shirts, nag-move na siya na meron pa ring fashion, pero dagdagan natin ng architecture. Ganon. Shit. And makita din natin sa buhok ni Basha na it frames her face. Again, this is using architectural and design thinking in the way that you look. Mapapansin natin na yung bag ni Basha in the earlier parts of the film is this utilitarian bag, which actually I would use that. That's a man's bag. That's a good man's bag actually. And then makita natin na towards the end or the middle, magkakaroon na siya ng leopard print canvas tote bag or jute tote bag, whatever that is. Tapos, etong earlier bag, makikita ulit natin siya sa bedroom ni Popoy, which tells me na binalik din to ni Basha kay Popoy after nila mag-break. So, ultimo sa bag, si Popoy pa rin yung namili kung anong bag yung gagamitin ni Basha for her day-to-day activities. Which is like super toxic, Popoy. What the hell? Also, there's this one very short with Popoy's best friend and Basha na makita natin. This last one was pointed out by Ate Van, by the way. Makita natin na Popoy and Basha was wearing denim jackets. Pero Popoy and his best friend was wearing same purple tops. So parang there's a poetry na yes, on the outside mukhang same si Popoy and Basha, pero on the inside Popoy resonates more with his best friend. And this storytelling tells us kung bakit ba may napapansin naman natin na may insecurity si Basha sa best friend ni Popoy. So I think that's such a good touch in their costume design. And then we move on to the props. Nung nag-break na si Popoy and Basha, binalik na ni Basha yung mga stuff ni Popoy, right? Tapos, makita natin yung design ng box. Okay, anyone in the class familiar with the design? with this design? Raise your hand. Yes, it is The Kiss by Klimt. Their breakup box has a picture of The Kiss by Gustav Klimt. I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm going to read to you what I think about this. Okay, The Kiss by Gustav Klimt, painted in 1907, is one of the most iconic works of the Vienna Succession movement and a powerful visual expression of love, intimacy, and transcendence. There's a contrast between the masculine and feminine energy. The man is wrapped in robe of geometric patterns, strong, rectangular, and structured. The woman, by contrast, is adorned with soft organic shapes like flowers and circles. This visual duality emphasizes the balance and harmony between masculine and feminine energies, suggesting a kind of cosmic unity in their union. There's also a poetry in the way that these two people were framed. There's this tenderness, but at the same time, feeling of entrapment. There's this claustrophobia that you feel with that kind of hug. Almost like it's forced. Almost like she wants to leave. Pero she can't. Because she still loves him. Whoever thought of this sa art dep ng One More Chance, isa kang alamat. Apakagaling mo naman. Naisip mo pa. Naalala mo pa si paring Gustav Klimt. Ayos ka din eh. There is a loss of self in love. Their faces are distinct, but their bodies blur into one golden ornamental mass. This could imply that when one is deep in love, individual identities become less defined, creating a shared space of intimacy where boundaries dissolve. Tapos sasabihan ka ni Basha na I need space, tas gaganto ka? Gago pala. Sorry. Basha's t-shirts. There's this scene na nagpipainting si Basha, diba, ng mga t-shirts. And she was trying to paint. Biglang naging bahay yung painting. And to me, this is subconscious. Si Basha, love niya ang architecture. And honestly, same. I love architecture. But sometimes it feels like architecture doesn't love me back. Pero wala eh. You go back to architecture, kahit anong gawin ko. Architecture is gonna be there. I've learned to love it kahit na mahirap. And dito natin makita na Basha feels exactly the same. Kasi kahit na she's trying to move on from the profession, hinihila pa rin siya ng architecture. And makikita natin na after that sequence, merong biglang nasa library siya looking at books about architecture. And that's so funny kasi I do the same. Every time, there's this one time na I went to the Qatar National Library to look for a reference book for Lion Decker. And then ang ending, nagbasa ko ng libro about Zaha Hadid and Tadao Ando. So, imbes na mag-research ako about, for my paintings, I researched about architecture in the end. So this is just relatable to me. And honestly, if you're in the creative field, kailangan mo lang talaga to go outside the confines of your practice. And lawakan mo yung paniniwala mo, lawakan mo yung understanding mo. Understanding na, lalo na kung architect ka, na you're not just an architect. You don't just design buildings, you design life. And in order to be an effective designer, you must also be a good observer. And see things in a different perspective. Yeah, that's One More Chance. Thank you for watching this video. Rewatching this film was a cathartic experience for me. Honestly, it made me realize na, you know what, I'm not alone. We're all going through this. And I hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you for watching and goodbye.